We're just gonna call it tickling the skin. Eyeshadow can be very overwhelming when you're a beginner at makeup, but in this video, I am going to break it down for you. I will show you how to achieve this gorgeous halo eyeshadow look that will have you get all the compliments. But before we get into it, make sure your lips are moisturized, and if you are a returning subscriber, hey! Let's get this hair out of the way. I have a video of my hair up, so if you want to know about it, definitely check it out. First things first is the brows. So when it comes to your brows, I don't care if you like it before or after. Do what works best for you. I like to do half of my brows before I do my eyeshadow and my other half after my foundation routine is done. So that's what I'm gonna do. I generally like to line the bottoms of my brows, and then I go ahead and conceal the bottoms of my brows. If you have oily eyelids like I do, this step is definitely a must, because if you don't do it, your eyeshadow will slide right off your eye. Very much like how you prime your face before you put foundation on, you have to prime your eyes before you use eyeshadow. Apply the primer directly to your eyes and blend it in with your fingers. I find that doing it this way helps the product melt into your skin very well, and it prevents it from lifting at any point during your makeup. Next is eyeshadow base. So eyeshadow base is anything that can help conceal any discoloration on your eyes and also hold on to the eyeshadow look that you're going to do. Generally, I suggest using a mattifying concealer because it is a product that tends to dry down on its own. In recent years, however, we have products like the Juvia's Place Eye Prep Eye Prime, which is an eyeshadow primer. Colored Rain, P. Louise, and many different brands have eyeshadow bases that you can use. To blend out your eyeshadow base, you can use a fluffy blending brush. When blending in your eyeshadow base, you have to make sure that you're patting into your concealer or your base. At the very edges of your blended eyeshadow base, you're going to use a very light hand. Don't push the brush into your skin as if you're patting it. Very lightly, almost like you're trying to tickle yourself, okay? Very lightly blend the edges out so that it can blend into the concealer that you put down. So essentially, you're just gonna tickle the outer edges to blend the concealer and the base in beautifully. This is the result. This is what it should look like. We're using Juvia's Place the Coffee Shop palette today because it is one of those palettes that is a beginner friendly palette because it gives you a wide array of shades to work with, and you can play with these to give you a gorgeous nude look or a very dramatic nude look. Makeup lover's dream. First, we're using this shade because it's going to be the perfect transition between our eyeshadow and our skin tone. One rule I have on here is before you go in with any makeup, make sure that whatever layer you put down has had a chance to dry down or at least get slightly damp before you go in with the next step. See where your eye, it's where you can see the outer line of your eye. That is the part of your eye you would call a crease. So just find the socket of where the socket of your eye is and push this transition shade into it. You're going to pat the eyeshadow into your base. You're not going to drag it because dragging it means that the eyeshadow is going to fall right off your eyes. Next, we're going to blend the outer edges of the shade that we just put down. We're going to do circular motions around the edges of this to soften it. As if you're trying to tickle your skin. So just lightly tickle your skin with the brush, okay? We're just gonna call it tickling the skin. Just lightly tickle your skin with the brush. Don't push too hard into it, just lightly tickle your skin. You can also do the windshield wiper motion if you're more comfortable with that, all the while lightly tickling your skin. As you can see, the brown that we put down is the perfect shade. Almost kind of mimics my skin tone, but it's also helping cover that very bright base that we put down. Next, we're going in with this shade. I'm using almost like a dome eyeshadow brush. This is the ColourPop E1 brush. I don't know if it's still available, but ColourPop has very nice brushes. I'm taking the same brush. We're going into our deeper shade, and we're going to place that deep shade on both the outer and the inner corner of the eye. Just pat it in, making sure that you stop exactly at your crease, essentially where the socket of your eye begins or ends, or whatever you want to call it. Where your eye goes in, if you can find the part of your eye that rolls in, that is the socket, and that's where you're gonna stop. And of course, holding a mirror that forces your eyes to look down gives you access to your full eyelid so you can put eyeshadow on it. You're going to take the same brush and very lightly tickle the outer edges of that deep shade we put down so that it can blend it up, but not blend it up too much. If you blend it up too much to your brows, your eyeshadow is just not gonna look okay. Tickle the outer edges of that deep shade that we put down so that it can have very soft edges. This is my absolute favorite eyeshadow style because it is very easy. You can play with the colors and it packs such an impact. It just looks really gorgeous on everybody. Okay. If you feel like you have any harsh lines going towards your brows, you're going to take a clean eyeshadow brush and you're just going to tickle the edges of wherever you feel like you have a harsh line. That will help you blend it in without adding any extra product to your skin. Next, we're going into a shimmer shade. Of course, our eyelids are not completely dry, especially in the middle because we haven't put any product on there yet. It's still pretty damp, so it's going to hold onto the shimmer shade and it's going to show up and show out. Now for this look, because of my outfit, I feel like I want to go slightly more coppery with the look. Because of that, I'm going into this shimmer shade. I'm taking a flat concealer brush. I will go into this shade, just swirl around in it. Juvia's Place has some very gorgeous pigments in their eyeshadow, so you don't need to swirl too much. The tip of this brush is now coated in our eyeshadow. You're going to force your eyes to look down by bringing your mirror all the way down, and then you're just going to apply that shimmer shade directly in the middle. Do you see how gorgeous it is? Do you see how much it's showing out? Make sure that you're putting enough pigment on there all the way up to your lash line and just blend it in all the way up to the fold of your eye where your eye rolls in. This is going to be the crease of your eye, okay? So you're gonna blend it up to the crease and you're gonna leave it there. You're not gonna go past the crease of your eye. And just blend it in to cover any of the eyeshadow base that was exposed before. Immediately you can see how gorgeous this eyeshadow looks gonna come out, right? Take that brush that you use to apply your deep shades. You're going to very lightly tickle the outer edges of the shimmer shade you put down so that it doesn't have a harsh line on it. To get it to blend in very seamlessly, just tickle the outer edges of that shimmer shade. And if you need to, you can go back into your deeper shade to just make it an easier blend for you, because this Juvia's Place palette, the shimmer shades will overtake the mattes in the palette. And just like that, the edges are beautiful and blended in compared to this one, which is looking a little bit more harsh. We don't want that. Now that this is done, take your clean brush, go into your first transition shade, tap off the excess and blend the top part of your shimmer shade out a bit so it doesn't look so harsh. See how harsh this side looks? With this side, because I blended it in a little bit, it doesn't look so harsh, right? I like to keep a tissue on my table. If I have to reuse a brush, I just wipe the previous pigment off of it before I go in with the next one, especially because they're going to be so close in shade. I will do that, okay? You don't have to use multiple brushes for something that is very similar, especially on the eyes. Like, go into this shade right here. This is the palette when it's open. So when you're looking at it, this is how you look at it. I'm going into this very light shimmer shade. And I always like to put a very light shimmer shade in the middle of a halo because it makes it look like a spotlight directly in the middle. Do you see how the middle part of this eyeshadow look is shimmering or is looking so much different compared to this other eye? It's just, there's something to it. I absolutely just love it. And it's only going directly in the middle of that shimmer shade. Okay, now for the lower part of the eye, you can see that as soon as I did my foundation, my eyeshadow base and everything else blended seamlessly and beautifully into my concealer to where I don't really need to do much. If I want to intensify the outer corners, I can, but you don't have to. Okay, next comes the waterline. The waterline, I feel, is the place you can be most playful. You can go in with black, white, orange, red, green, whatever it is that you want. For this look, I'm going to use an orange liner for my waterline because it's going to pick up on the warm orange tones in my shimmer shade. You can also very easily go in with a black waterline color. It's classic, everybody does it, and it's not going to just stand out too much. We're going to use a black liner for the upper lash line. This is going to help make our lashes look thicker, fuller, and also it's going to help whenever we apply our falsies to have it look gorgeous. This is also a method called tight lining, and I can't do it while my eyes are open. I just cannot do it. For the lower lash line, we're taking this shade. This is the shade we use as the deepest shade on the outer corners of our eyes. We're going to apply that directly where our lash line is, and we're just going to blend it in using the tip of a very flat concealer brush. We'll make sure that the shade that we're putting down is not going to blow out too much and make us look like raccoons. Okay, so use the very tip of it and blend as close to your lash line as possible just to smoke it out. Never be afraid to go back in to intensify any part of your eyeshadow look. You can put a tiny little liner on your eyes to help you hide your falsie band. I'm using a felt tip eyeliner because it is very easy to use, especially if you're a beginner, and it's also very black and it dries down very matte. So you're gonna look down into your mirror and angle your liner up. You see how it's pointing up? And then you'll just go in and drag it to the middle of your eye, and you're gonna fill in the tail part of it and just follow that line all the way down towards the middle part of your eye. Eyeliners have a notorious way of overtaking an eyeshadow look, so be very careful, move slowly, and make sure that you're applying short strokes. Next, you're gonna take your blending brush, the one you use for your lower lash line, and you're just going to smudge the end of this liner just to give it less of a shape, because I know a lot of us as beginners don't really know how to draw a wing. So to just save us the embarrassment of my wing is not so sharp, just go ahead and smudge that tail of it. Let's go ahead and apply some falsies. So you've done your eyeshadow, you've done your eyeliner, everything is looking cute, and you're gonna put on your falsies. You need to go in with a mascara because the mascara is going to help you blend your natural lashes in with your falsies. Personally, I cannot apply any falsies to my eyes using my fingers, so I always use a tweezer. It's easier for me, and it's just better. It just goes on easier for me. So I'm using my tweezer, and then I'm going to apply some glue to my lash band, making sure that I get the outer edges of my lash band. Let the lashes sit for about 30 seconds. Take your mirror, look all the way down. This forces your eyes to look down, and then you're going to apply your lashes. Bringing your mirror all the way down is going to force your eyes to look down and give you access to the top of your lashes where you are going to place your already glue lined falsie. And here we have it, our final eye look. This is so easy, anybody can do it, and because of that shimmer down the middle, it gives it this very gorgeous glam look without you having to do too much or blend in too much. If you want to see other eyeshadow tutorials, or if you want to try other eyeshadow looks, definitely check out these two videos right here.